Hey y'all. Woo! Nothing like a good run to clear your mind and get your mental health in its right place. Anyway, what is this mess? I'm reading about Fergie, the Duchess of York. Like, oh my goodness. These members of the royal family are so shameless, honestly. They are so shameless. I don't get it. They groveled at the feet, groveling at the feet of a pedophile, a convicted pedophile, keeping him close to our heart, clearly holding him in some high regard, borrowing money from him. So can somebody tell me, what is it with rich people wanting free things and begging other people for money? I don't get it. Like Prince Andrew would come to New York and stay at Epstein's place. Like, can't you afford a place of your own or stay in a hotel? I don't get it. Oh, okay, look. Bottom line is this. I think the royal family is utterly, utterly shameless. Utterly shameless. And the things that we let them get away with is disgraceful. That's what I think. This institution that people keep saying, you know, they're beyond reproach, don't hold them to account. This is the result of it. You have members of the royal family literally partnering, friendshiping with convicted pedophiles. Did you see the emails? She used words like hellaciously, and I humbly apologize because I didn't reply to you. I was trying to save my book deals. That was what was important to her, not the fact that he had committed heinous crimes, sex trafficked, he was a pedophile. None of that mattered. No. And have you noticed that everything they accuse Meghan Markle of is what this royal family is actually doing? Everything they've accused Meghan Markle of. The Duchess of York, Fergie, and the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, have profited disgustingly from their titles, from their influence and their position in the royal family. And every member of the royal family does that. And this is what they were accusing Meghan of. And it's clear that she's making her own money. And she was making her own money before she married Harry. But hey, what do you expect? Anyways, just thought I'll share my quick thoughts because I'm laughing my head off here. What an absolute disgrace of a British institution. Anyway, I shall carry with my run. Carry with my run. Ooh.
Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu has once again torn through the veil of pretense that cloaks the British monarchy. And in doing so, she has exposed a reality too many refuse to confront. Her words are both a mirror and a megaphone, reflecting the undeniable hypocrisy of a rotten institution while amplifying truths that the establishment and its media mouthpieces desperately want to suppress. With boldness and conviction, she has declared what millions already sense in their bones. Everything Meghan Markle was falsely accused of is exactly what members of the royal family do with impunity, and the latest scandal surrounding Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, and her entanglements with Jeffrey Epstein epitomizes this shameful rot. In that simple truth lies a devastating critique of not just the monarchy, but of the double standards that define British society. Think of the absurdity of it all. Meghan Markle, a self-made woman who worked, earned and built a brand and career on her own long before she married Prince Harry, is smeared as greedy, manipulative and exploitative. Yet Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew, whose entire existences have been bankrolled by royal privilege, handouts, shady deals and morally questionable associations, are excused and protected. Meghan was accused of profiting off her title when she and Harry struck deals to support themselves after leaving an institution that had cut them off. But Ferguson borrowed money from Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile, grovelling in emails where she referred to him as hellaciously generous, humbly apologising for late replies not because of the magnitude of his crimes, but because she was worried about her book deals. And yet somehow, in the twisted moral logic of Britain's establishment, Ferguson remains in high social circles, while Meghan is vilified. Dr. Shola's words slice through this hypocrisy like a blade. She reminds us of the shamelessness of a family and an institution that has always lived by one set of rules for themselves and another for everyone else. The royal family grumbles at the feet of predators, keeps them close to their hearts, and uses their connections to fund their lifestyles, all while projecting onto Meghan the very sins they commit. They accused her of cashing in on her royal connection, but what else have Ferguson and Andrew done their entire lives, if not monetize proximity to the crown? They accused Meghan of being self-serving, but who is more self-serving than Andrew, who flew across the Atlantic to stay in Epstein's home in New York instead of booking a hotel? Who is more shameless than Ferguson, who attached herself to Epstein's wallet when her own finances crumbled? This is the problem with the monarchy. This is the disgrace that Dr. Shola has rightly exposed. It is an institution that feeds on the myth of nobility, demanding deference while shielding itself from accountability. The very reason Andrew still enjoys protection, the very reason Ferguson's scandals are shrugged off as quirky missteps instead of national embarrassments, is because the monarchy has built a fortress of impunity around itself. They are never truly held to account, never forced to reckon with the consequences of their behaviour. And the public, manipulated by tabloids and soothed by pomp, is encouraged to look the other way. But Meghan was not allowed the same impunity. No, Meghan was hounded, torn down, and vilified for things she never even did. They accused her of being extravagant, but ignored the royals who spend millions in taxpayer money on palaces, private jets, and luxury wardrobes. They accused her of being controlling, but ignored a monarchy that thrives on controlling not just its members, but the entire machinery of British media. They accused her of exploiting her position, but ignored how royals like Fergie literally monetized their titles in tacky, commercialized schemes. Meghan's crime was not greed, arrogance, or opportunism. It was being an independent, accomplished black woman who dared to stand tall in an institution built on conformity, servitude, and silence. The emails between Ferguson and Epstein tell us everything we need to know about the rot at the heart of the monarchy. They reveal a duchess who was more concerned with saving her book deals than reckoning with the reality that the man she was borrowing money from was a pedophile who had trafficked underage girls. This wasn't some ancient scandal dragged up from the past. It was a contemporary betrayal of values that speaks volumes about priorities in royal circles. Book deals mattered more than morality. Connections mattered more than conscience. Access to power and money mattered more than protecting victims. What does that tell us about the culture of this family? What does it reveal about the kinds of compromises they are willing to make? And then there is Prince Andrew. The Duke of York's scandal with Epstein is one of the most shameful chapters in modern royal history. His infamous Newsnight interview remains a monument to delusion, arrogance, and entitlement, a televised unravelling that showed the world exactly what Dr. Shola means when she says the monarchy is shameless. He stayed in Epstein's house, claimed he did so because it was convenient, and denied allegations with excuses so absurd they became late-night comedy fodder. Yet even after all this, Andrew was sheltered. The Queen herself reportedly helped fund his legal settlements. The family circled the wagons, and the British establishment did what it always does, looked the other way. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle was accused of bullying staff because she expected competence and professionalism. She was accused of damaging the monarchy's reputation by simply telling her truth. She was accused of being a diva for setting boundaries. And she was relentlessly smeared in the press for daring to hold her head high. The contrast is obscene. Andrew could be associated with Epstein. Ferguson could grovel in humiliating emails. The monarchy could cozy up to predators and oligarchs. But Meghan, who did none of these things, was the one cast as the villain. Dr. Shola is right to laugh at this absurdity, because sometimes laughter is the only response to such a disgraceful spectacle. The British monarchy is not a symbol of dignity. It is not a moral compass. It is not a sacred institution beyond reproach. It is, as Dr. Shola reminds us, utterly shameless. It is an institution where scandal is normalized, where corruption is overlooked, and where hypocrisy thrives. The things they condemn Meghan for are the things they practice daily. The sins they project onto her are reflections of their own reality. And what of the British media? The tabloids have been complicit every step of the way. They amplify the attacks on Meghan while downplaying or outright burying the scandals of Andrew and Ferguson. They rush to print unverified gossip about Meghan, but tread lightly around actual crimes and financial scandals connected to the royals. Why? Because Meghan is an outsider. She is easier to attack, easier to scapegoat, because attacking her sells papers, fuels outrage, and distracts from the monarchy's deeper rot, and because the media, like the monarchy, thrives on maintaining the myth of royal superiority. Meghan had to be torn down because she exposed the lie that royals are inherently more dignified, more noble, more deserving of respect. But the truth, as Dr. Shola declares, is that Meghan is the opposite of what the monarchy projects onto her. She is independent, she is accomplished, she is financially self-sufficient. She made her own money before she ever became a duchess, and she continues to thrive because she works, not because she begs for handouts or borrows from predators. She is, in short, everything the monarchy pretends to be, but isn't. And that contrast is exactly why they fear her, exactly why they attack her, and exactly why her existence is such a threat to them. The more we examine this hypocrisy, the clearer it becomes that the monarchy is not just shameless, it is dangerous. Dangerous because it normalizes corruption. Dangerous because it excuses behavior that should be condemned. Dangerous because it feeds a culture of impunity where privilege trumps accountability. And dangerous because it convinces the public to accept these double standards as the natural order of things. When people are taught to believe that royals can do no wrong, even as evidence piles up to the contrary, society itself is corrupted. Dr. Shola's voice is a necessary antidote to this corruption. She refuses to play along with the charade. She refuses to let hypocrisy go unchallenged. She refuses to let Meghan Markle be scapegoated while royals like Andrew and Ferguson skate by. She reminds us that laughter can be a weapon, that ridicule can expose the ridiculous, and that truth, when spoken boldly, can cut through centuries of lies. The bottom line, as Dr. Shola so powerfully put it, is that the royal family is utterly shameless in their actions, utterly shameless in their hypocrisy, and utterly shameless in their expectation of protection. And the more we let them get away with it, the worse it becomes. The monarchy does not deserve reverence. It deserves scrutiny. It does not deserve blind loyalty. It deserves accountability. It does not deserve Meghan Markle's dignity being weaponized against her. It deserves exposure for what it truly is, a rotten institution propped up by myths, scandals, and impunity. And so we return to Dr. Shola's words, because they ring like a bell in the silence of complicity. Everything Meghan Markle was accused of, falsely and maliciously, is exactly what the royal family does in reality. They profit from their positions, they monetize their titles, they exploit their influence, and they cozy up to predators. Meghan has done none of these things. Meghan has earned, Meghan has worked, Meghan has built, Meghan has inspired. The monarchy has disgraced itself again and again. And yet somehow, Meghan is the one on trial in the court of public opinion. That is the hypocrisy. That is the rot. That is the shamelessness. And that is why Dr. Shola's voice matters now more than ever. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching. And do not forget to subscribe, like and put a comment. Bye-bye, see you then in our next episode.